Oh. Oh. For a bet. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to see more. Also, I'm still running my Buy Me a Coffee campaign, and if you just click on the QR code, you can contribute to me not wearing shirts like this. Coming up, IMG's Rugby League criteria announced. Plus scores and scorers from the NRL as the Broncos face the Cowboys and the Eels face the Sharks. So it's finally here. IMG have released some information towards their club grading criteria for the upcoming 2025 season, with a initial grading on 2024. IMG have today, the 9th of the 3rd 2023, presented to the RFL Council the recommended grading criteria to define how Super League, the RFL Championship and League One clubs can be assessed ahead of the start of 2025 as part of the reimagining Rugby League plans. Based on a combination of on and off the field variables, the proposed grading criteria are designed to collectively increase clubs' fan bases, diversify revenue, drive investment into clubs and the sport in a sustainable manner, plus run the clubs in a best-in-class way and ensure the governance is in place. The recommended grading criteria covers 5 areas, with each element contributing to a percentage of the overall weighting, which includes, first of all, the fandom. 25% of the grading goes towards that, which is encouraging clubs to attract more fans in the stadia, both at home and digitally, and also improve fan engagement, contributing to both the club and central revenues increases, which is a positive for all clubs. It's going to be difficult with some areas having a large concentration of clubs in there. This is all well and good, but how do we attract the new fans to the sport? Like, for instance, Stuart Pearce, who found the sport in 2016 when interacting with Tony Smith, the now Hull FC manager, when he was in charge of Warrington Wolves. As part of the FA, the Football Association growth plan for finding better sports interactions with growing the Football League, and they invited guests, and Tony Smith was there, and Stuart Pearce was invited up to Warrington Wolves and fell in love with the club and the sport as a whole. So that part of it isn't yet to be covered, but they're trying to grow the area, trying to grow the sport locally to begin with, and then expand out. Hopefully that's the plan. IMG's second point is performance, and it counts to 25% of the actual grading, incentivising clubs to perform on the field and drive fan awareness and engagement. Teams will be ranked from 1 to 36 based on where they finished in the leagues for the previous 3 seasons. Bonus points will be awarded to teams who win the league and cup competitions in the previous season too. So there'll be some very competitive teams over the next 2 seasons trying to get as many points as possible and get as high up in the division, in the pyramid should I say, as possible. So what's next? Well, it's quite simple. Finances, which the IMG grading gets 25% of the grading market. IMG say that reflecting the success of fan engagement and business performance and rewarding sustainable investment, as well as diversified revenue streams and sound financial management. I think that's more to do with working within the salary cap more than anything, because if clubs are developing off the field, they'll get a higher ranking from what they had before, or if they're in new stadia, the updates, the better media facilities, the better matchday experience for fans, fan zones, everything will be coming into account to help generate funds. The next comes with the stadium, based on a number of factors including facilities and utilisation, which add value to the fans and broadcast or digital viewers' experience. The match are exceeding competitions from other sports and events. So they're essentially saying making the stadium available for other events, possibly the women's game, all the way through to ground shares with soccer stadium, or even promoting other sports that are underdeveloped. Just one of those things. Plus, I think they're more talking about the revenue impacts as well. Electronic advertising hoardings around the pitch, better scoreboards for Super League scoring, better eyeball attraction for fans at home or even fans that walk past the place. And the last one is catchment, which addresses that need for looking into different areas based on area population and the number of clubs of the area, with a view of maximising growth for the sport in the largest markets to generate new fan bases, incentivise investment. That could be a positive for the likes of London or Toulouse for when they want to come into Super League, or to bolster the growth in the sport. A big company like IMG promoting them, it's a marketing goldmine, to be fair, and one that possibly is one of the shortfallings of why this hasn't been done before, as successful as it is to be. NRL Commercial, the RFL and IMG will conduct a series of grading criteria follow-up consultations with clubs representatives in March and early April ahead of the vote that is set to take place in the 19th of April 2023 on these proposals. If voted through, illustrative grades for the 2024 season will be released at the end of the 2023 season, and the clubs will be provided with a dashboard outlining the areas they need to improve to gain a higher grade, which is quite possibly the best thing to do, as the likes of lower end Super League clubs will be counting on their facilities being enough to bolster their chance to get into Super League. The grading will then come into full effect in 2025, with the top tier leagues comprising of 12 clubs, including all Category A clubs and the highest ranking B clubs. All grades will be reassessed annually, meaning it is envisaged that promotion and relegation between the tiers would continue, but no longer wholly determined by on-the-field performance. The chair of the RL Commercial, the RFL's commercial wing, Frank Slevin, said, after the overwhelming support provided by clubs to Reimagine Rugby League, recommendations were the first presented last September. Clubs have now been provided with full details of the grading process, which is an important part of the proposal, and an immense amount of work has been done by IMG as part of their long-term strategic partnership with Rugby League to produce a blueprint which breaks new ground for British sport. It is important that the clubs have now the time to consider the proposals and provide feedback in a series of meetings that have been arranged between now and the special general meeting of clubs next month. This statement was echoed by the Matt Dwyer, Vice President of Sports Management at IMG Media. Our goal with the proposed criteria was established an objective, easily measured and reliable framework that will drive long-term sustainable growth for individual clubs and the sport as a whole. We, RL Commercial and the RFL, believe improvement in each of these areas is possible for all clubs over time and is vital to transforming the future-proofing Rugby League. Ultimately, we want to be in a position down the line where the top tier league is full of Category A clubs and being expanded. So there it is, the first part of the IMG model. Category A, as many as possible. an expansion of the league. Sooner that we get more Category A clubs and professional organisations all sorted, we'll be able to see bigger competition and more clubs going into Super League, which will generate more money. Being professional, showing that you're professional, and acting professional prove that you're professional. What more do you need at that point? The grading criteria recommendations were determined by using a scientific data-led approach powered by Endeavour Analytics, a leading data services provider which sits along IMG in the Endeavour network, combining with IMG's global expertise. There is also 7 League, IMG's digital arm, are continuing to work with RL Commercial on the sports digital strategy, running ongoing workshops with clubs while continuing to develop new ways of working and commercial valuation models and digital practices within the RFL and RFL commercial teams. Meanwhile, IMG's sister company and culture marketing agency, 160over90, expects to complete their wider rebranding of the men's and women's Super League competitions later this year, ahead of the 2024 season launch. So there is the name change in the works as well, so we've got that to look forward to. For now, we've got some clarification of what's going on and the aims of the actual league, IMG and everyone else involved. As soon as we've got X amount at grade A, at 12, the amounts of teams are going to increase in the top tier. It's a good model and it's aspirational for all teams that want to be involved. Next we come to the NRL, as there were 2 games played Friday morning, Friday night, wherever you are, with the Broncos versus the Cowboys in the local derby, and Parramatta Eels versus the Cronulla Sharks. And we're looking at the Cowboys versus the Brisbane Broncos, as the fans were treated to some classic matches over the years, and with both teams recording round 1 wins, the signs are good for another cracker of a Friday night. The Broncos upset reigning premiers Penrith Panthers last Friday, out enthusing the more favoured home side in the forwards, and a late field goal from skipper Adam Reynolds secured Brisbane Broncos' first victory in Penrith's territory since 2009. After missing 4 games at the end of last season due to suspension, Broncos prop Patrick Carrigan didn't miss a beat with 50 tackles for the match. Fullback Selwyn Cobbo ran in 197 metres in his first NRL game as the starting number 1. The Cowboys held on in a classic Canberra against Canberra to open up the 2023 account for themselves, also winning by a drop goal. Just like for the Broncos, it came from the skipper of the boots, with Chad Townsend stepping up to secure the win. While happy to get the win, North Queensland will be looking to address the issues the team faced in the second half of the match, where they let an early 18 points to 0 lead slip to be locked at 18 points to 18 all, after the Raiders produced a spirited second half fight back. So the team news came to us, and no late changes for Brisbane Broncos. Star signing Reece Walsh will make his first NRL appearance in the Broncos jersey after missing round 1 with a facial fracture. Selwyn Cobbo moves to the wing after doing a fine job filling in at fullback, so Jesse Arthurs goes to the 18th man. The pack is unchanged after a powerful first up display against the Premiers. The Cowboys have no late changes to their squad, with Brandon Elliott in the squad as the 18th man. Stability was the hallmark of the Cowboys' success last year, and 2023 is starting off in familiar fashion, as Todd Payton heads into Queensland's derby with the same 17 that done the job against the Canberra Raiders in round 1. And it was the Broncos that came out with a win, 28 points to 16. They went behind though early in the first half, with Jeremiah Nane getting on the end of a good pass. Great running line from Nane, who to score the opening try of the game. Valentine Holmes converted, and it was 6-0. It was made 8-0 after Valentine Holmes kicked over a penalty due to a high tackle. Sorry, a rip from in a 3-1 tackle. Kurt Capewell got over the try line for the Broncos to set them on the way for the 33rd minute, which Adam Reynolds converted. But another penalty, this time for a hip drop tackle on the 37th minute, gave Valentine Holmes 2 more points to his tally, and it was 10-6. But with that, Corey Oates was going down the left wing, knew he didn't have the legs as the covering defence was coming over, and kicked forward for Ezra Mam, and the standoff scored on the left-hand side of the pitch. This made the scores 10-all, and it was half-time. Scott Drinkwater was sin-binned on the 43rd minute after committing a high tackle on Corey Oates as he was in the motion of scoring a try. Drinkwater was put on report for that instance as well. While the penalty try wasn't given, I don't know, but not long after that, Katoni Staggs went over on the 44th minute to give the lead to the Broncos for the first time in the game. Conversion was missed, but it was Ezra Mam who went over after a great Reece Walsh release and sent him in the clear to score from just past the halfway line. Scoring went a bit quiet after that, after Adam Reynolds had converted that try, but Reynolds got a penalty due to offside, and he was gracious enough to convert the 2 pointers once more. Jeremiah Nane scored on the 72nd minute after a great kick into the in-goal area, saw Nane dive on the ball for the second try for the Cowboys, giving them a bit of life at 22-16 with Valentine Holmes converting. But the game was ended when Herbie Fowler broke through the would-be Queensland defence and passed in support of Reece Walsh, who scored underneath the posts. Adam Reynolds converted. That was the final part of the game. It gave the Broncos the 28-16 that play deserved. The second game that we're covering is actually the first game of the day, as the Eels and the Sharks get to open their accounts for 2023 after both suffered defeats in a tight game in the opening round. Both sides will be taking plenty of positives out of the first up efforts, despite having nothing to show in the win column. The Eels going to Golden Point against Melbourne, and the Sharks matching motors with Souths for much of the night, despite going in without Nico Hines and losing Wade Graham to the bin. Hines is a chance return from a calf injury, but Graham faces 3 weeks on the sideline after he was charged with dangerous contact for a high shot on Rabbitohs' David Moali. The Eels and the Sharks met just once in 2022 in round 2. That was decided with a last minute Teague Wilson try and an ice-cool Hines conversion as Cronulla got the home 18-16 win in their first match at PointsBet Stadium since 2019. Both sides opened the 2022 season with 4 wins in their first 5 games, but a start of 0 wins and 2 defeats awaits to a team that can't rise to the occasion on Friday night and make the necessary adjustments from round 1. This week the Eels with home ground advantage, and they'll have plenty of support behind them as fans flock down from the offices and restaurants of Parramatta for the early kickoff and hoping to cheer Mitchell Moses to victory in his 200th game in the NRL. With that, here is the team news. Well, first of all, the Eels have former Kiwi international Bailey Simonson returning from a shoulder injury that he suffered in last year's grand final after being named up on the wing in place of Sean Russell within 24 hours update before the kickoff. The Eels are otherwise unchanged from the loss against Melbourne last week, with Jake Arthurs as 18th man. Wade Graham has been suspended for 4 games for a reckless high tackle committed in round 1, so Connor Tracy joins the interchange bench with prop Royce Hunt, also returning from an elbow injury via the bench. Jack Williams is out with a head knock. Max Bradbury, Jaden Burrell and Niwa Puru were omitted on Thursday's 24-hour update. And it was an epic of a game between the two sides as we see Parramatta Eels go down to the Cronulla Sharks 30 points to 26, and it's Will Kennedy who was the star of this show. The game started with Regan Campbell-Gillard going over for a try on the 3rd minute, which was followed up quickly by Maker Sevo as the Eels went out to an early lead. Mitchell Moses converted the Campbell-Gillard try but missed the Sevo try on the 5th minute. This brought the Sharks back into it as Britton Nikora went over for a try on the 14th minute, and Will Kennedy with the first of his hat-trick on the 18th minute, restoring parity. Braden Trindle though was better with the boot as he converted both tries, and then it got better after a Mitchell Moses try on the 33rd minute for the Parramatta Eels, which he also missed the conversion for. Will Kennedy came from nowhere to sidestep his way through the defence and score on the 36th minute. Braden Trindle was perfect with the boot, and at half time it was the Sharks leading 18 points to 14. This didn't give any let up this game as Maker Sevo ran over his opposite number to score on the 43rd minute, which Mitchell Moses nailed the left touchline conversion. Good response early in the half for the Eels. Will Kennedy went over for a hat-trick after Ronaldo Mulitalo broke down the left wing from an intercepted pass when Parramatta Eels were attacking in the 20 metres of the Sharks. Mitchell Moses ran him down, but from the resulting play of the ball, it was fast work by Moses, to be honest, it was brilliant. The ball was struck out through the Cronulla attack, and 2 passes later Will Kennedy is stepping through to score underneath the posts on the 55th minute and getting his hat-trick try. Braden Trindle had the easy option to put it through the middle, and he did so. Then the 60th minute saw Ronaldo Mulitalo jump the highest in the left corner to score on the 60th minute, and Trindle nailed that touchline conversion as well, before Mitchell Moses got through the line and put the afterburners on to score on the 72nd minute and convert his own try underneath the posts. It was a fantastic game, full of spills, speed and excitement. But there's only one winner. Cronulla Sharks, 30 points to 26. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is the time to end the show. So thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video worldwide, as well as clicking on that notification bell for any updates on new videos that may be coming your way in the near future. Tell me what your thoughts on today's episode in the comment section below, as it's open for business. Can you tell me what your thoughts are on the IMG proposals for the reimagination of rugby league in the Northern Hemisphere? I think it's exciting. Now it's up to the clubs to not moan about it, even though we've already heard one already moaning about it, and get on with the work to making sure that their club is good enough to be a grade 18 and continue to be in the future. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide. When the episode, as I always do, by wishing you all the very best. So please stay safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.